What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my Week 12 predictions for the 2021 NFL season. I'm pretty much getting over my sickness at this point, so draft content is really going to start pumping out here. I've got 400 guys ranked, so I've definitely got stuff prepared for you. But today we are doing my Week 12 predictions, so let's get into that. Starting off, we have 3 Thanksgiving games tomorrow. First one starting at 10:30, which is why this video is going to be out a little bit early. We have the Bears in Detroit. Obviously, Detroit, a Thanksgiving tradition. Doesn't mean it's going to be a good game. You know, you have 2 teams that have been very poor this year. A lot of rumors that Matt Nagy is going to be gone after this Detroit game, although a lot of those rumors have been denied so far. So we'll see if that turns out to be true or not. Either way, I have Chicago winning this one, but not by very much, just by a score. Again, both teams just been very underwhelming. The Lions, at least they were able to tie with the Steelers, a couple weeks ago, but they're just obviously still not a good team. And so I got them losing this one in a close game and dropping to 0-10-1. Then our second Thanksgiving game of the week, we have the Raiders in Dallas. And the Raiders, they've dropped a few games. They've not been looking very good. Definitely underperformed from where they started off at. And it's kind of curious as to why, because their defense has remained pretty solid. Definitely not like its elite start that it had, but it's been pretty solid. And their offense has been, decent, especially when you consider the stuff that's gone on this season and losing one of your big weapons on offense and stuff. And all that considered, the Raiders, they've still been underperforming recently, and with the Cowboys, besides the loss to Denver, which was it was a very bad loss, obviously. Besides that, and this week against the Chiefs, kind of laid an egg, and the Chiefs are a good team. Obviously, like, people were definitely freaking out a bit too much over, the Chiefs are figured out, they're done. Besides those 2 losses, they've looked really good. They've consistently put up a lot of points, and their defense has been pretty solid overall. And so here in Dallas, coming off of a loss to the Chiefs, I think you got to get yourself a win here and get up to that 8 wins that they haven't been able to yet. And, Raiders just struggling recently. Cowboys also struggling, but they've still definitely been better than Las Vegas, so I am going to take Dallas in a pretty easy game here for them. Then we have Buffalo in New Orleans, and Buffalo has also been struggling recently. I just had somebody ask me, what have been those teams this year that look like they're unbeatable, and those are the teams that are scary. And as of recently, probably the Patriots is really the only team. But I just straight up told him literally nobody has looked unbeatable this year. And the Bills were my pick to go to the Super Bowl for the AFC side. With the way they've been playing, they still definitely can, because the AFC is a weak conference this year. But they've not looked very good as of late, and it kind of just continued. Obviously the first thing you'll point to is the Jaguars game, because that was horrific, obviously. But then, you also want to point to the Colts game, where they just got absolutely demolished by the Colts. Jonathan Taylor made them look like a high school football team. So, yeah, Bills, it's tough because they seem to be becoming pretty inconsistent. But if you want to talk about inconsistent, the Saints are kind of your team. I get it. There's a lot of injuries and stuff. And Sean Payton has done a good job considering those injuries. But, when you have Trevor Siemian as your quarterback and he's hurt now, so Taysom Hill with his new giant contract out of nowhere is now going to be your starter most likely. You still got no receivers. Teron Armstead's hurt. I think Cameron Jordan might be hurt. Marshawn Lattimore, I think, is dealing with an injury. There's a lot of stuff going on in New Orleans right now. So with a team that's been inconsistent the whole season versus a team that's been inconsistent as of late, I'm going to take the Bills. They're still easily the more talented team, way less injured. It'll be a close and good one here on Thanksgiving to end off Thursday night. But I'm going to take the Bills, maybe in a bit of a close one, though. Then moving on to Sunday, we have the Steelers going into Cincinnati, and both of these teams looking for a win here. AFC North is in a very, very tight race right now, and you've got 2 division games with the Steelers and the Bengals, and then the Browns and Ravens going up against each other later. With the Steelers and Bengals, it obviously Cincinnati the advantage here at home, But the Steelers have been, besides the Lions game, pretty good. I mean, they played very well. Now, well in the terms of almost winning. That last quarter of the Chargers game was very, very strange. But with the Steelers here, you got to get a win. You're going into Cincinnati, a division opponent, away especially. You've got to go in and get that win, but I just don't think they do it. Bengals are a team that really needs to, come back and get that statement win over a division rival and put themselves back up at the top of the AFC North. It's something they really need, and I just think they're a better team than the Steelers, so I will take Cincinnati in this one in a close thriller, 23-25. Then we have the Panthers in Miami, and the Panthers, another team that's been struggling as of late. Hot start, but they've just gone down and down since then. Even with Christian McCaffrey back, it's just not been that much of a big addition to the team. And the play calling has been very questionable. Cam Newton's playing better than Sam Darnold was, but that was not a very high bar to cross. And losing to Washington, like I predicted, just, kind of showed that this is a team that's struggling to find their place right now. And against the Dolphins, who have been really hot recently, I was kind of struggling to see myself having Carolina win here. I don't feel very confident in it because this could certainly be a game where Carolina dominates just because they do that sometimes. Case in point, the Arizona game. But with the Dolphins, who, you seem to finally have Tua back healthy, and he's playing great because Tua actually is legitimately playing great, and people need to start seeing that he is. The defense finally seems to start to be getting something going. It's better than at least what the start of the season was. Overall, it's just you have the Panthers who are on a cold streak right now, Dolphins who are on a hot streak. In Miami, can certainly go Panthers' way, but I'm going to go with Miami this week. Then we have the Eagles playing a division opponent in the Giants in New York, and the Eagles have been pretty darn good recently. Some very good wins over the Broncos, and just this week, just going in and having a really good performance, especially for like where they started and what I thought they would do against the Saints. Saints are an inconsistent team, obviously, like we just said, but still, it's a good win nonetheless. And so I think when you're having this really nice hot streak right now, and you're one win away from 500, and really putting yourself back into that playoff race in the NFC. Against an opponent like the Giants, even though it's in New York, Giants just not a very strong team. Daniel Jones is struggling right now. The offensive line is especially struggling, and the Eagles defense has been really good. Jalen Hurts has been really good. I think they'll take advantage of that and pull out a win by one score, but pull out a win here in New York to put themselves back in that playoff race. Definitely a team that had stuff work out for them better than I thought it would here in year one with Nick Sirianni. Then we have my game of the week and betting game of the week. So that's 2 weeks in a row we've had the same thing on the same game. Titans in New England. I'm pretty surprised that New Englanders is 7-point favorites. Like, yes, the Titans just lost to the Texans, and New England's been amazing. I get it. Should they be 7-point favorites? Probably not. And that's why it's my betting game of the week, because this could be a game I certainly see Tennessee winning. I don't have them winning, but they could certainly win this game. And that's a nice payout if you do, get that correct there. Titans, yeah, I get it. They looked bad against Houston, but they've still been good even without Derrick Henry. The passing game has gotten a few things better with Henry out. Running game, it's a little up in the air, with Adrian Peterson not being there. I know he wasn't really doing anything for them, but still, you're making your running back room a little bit weaker by getting rid of him. And, the Patriots, they're just playing great right now. Matthew Judon might be entering Defensive Player of the Year conversations. J.C. Jackson also may be in that conversation. He has been shut down for the Patriots defense. Christian Barmore is leading rookies in pressures. He's been fantastic. And then if you look at the offense, I mean, Mac Jones has been doing work. And in fact, I don't remember who it was, but someone said that he was operating the offense as good as Tom Brady was. And people were just thought that statement was blasphemy. And I sort of agree. Maybe not as good as Tom Brady, but Mac Jones is certainly playing at a pretty awesome level for being a rookie right now, and with honestly not the greatest offensive weapons in the world. Hunter Henry's getting like a touchdown every week, and the line is great, but still, Ramondre Stevenson also playing great, by the way. But either way, I mean, this team, it's on a hot streak right now. and the Titans just losing to the Texans, I am going to take New England in this game. But 7 points is a decent payout if the Titans do win this one, which I think is definitely possible. But I will take the Patriots in this one to improve to 8-4. And I think that would actually put them at top of the conference if they won. So then we have the Falcons in Jacksonville. It shouldn't be a good game, really, but I do have the Falcons pulling it out by a score. Jaguars, they've gotten a couple good wins, but I just don't see them winning this one. Falcons have a much better offense, and their defense is going to allow Jacksonville to stay in the game. But, Trevor Lawrence, he's looked better on certain things, but he just really has yet to take that step this season. I just don't think it's this game. It'll probably come sometime like week 15 or 16, maybe 17. But yeah, I just have the Falcons pulling this one out and doing better because they have been pretty solid overall. Kyle Pitts has been great. The defense has improved in a few ways. It's not a very impressive win. It's not. It shouldn't be the hardest win, but I do have them pulling out a win here in Jacksonville. Then we have the Buccaneers in Indianapolis, and it's really tough because it'd be cool if the Colts were able to pull off 2 tremendous wins like this. I just don't think it happens again. Jonathan Taylor's not going to run for 5 touchdowns again, and that offense just simply isn't going to be able to do enough against the Buccaneers to pull out a win, in my opinion. Michael Pittman's been great. Carson Wentz, I think he's being pretty overrated right now, but he's been better than he's been in the past for sure. The defense, it's great, and that's what's going to keep them in this game for me. I still have the Buccaneers pulling it out by a couple scores, though. They're just a better team. They looked great against the Giants, and yeah, sure, it's the Giants, but still, they looked great against them after struggling a couple weeks previous to that. Again, there's a chance, but I just don't think the Colts pull this one out. Then we have the Jets in Houston, and this should not be a very good game, and it was really tough to decide who won because you have the Texans coming off a very good win over Tennessee, right? And I mean, I predicted them to go 0-17, but it's not all that surprising to me that they've gotten a couple wins. They're an experienced veteran team with good coaching. Lovie Smith is a great defensive coordinator. I'm not a big fan of their head coach that I cannot remember the name of for right now, for some reason. But I'm not a big fan of their head coach, but he's a capable guy that definitely at least knows what he's doing for the most part. And with the Jets here, I mean, they've just not been good. Obviously, their defense has been tremendously horrible. And their offense, you're getting Zach Wilson back this game, and I think that's the thing that put me over at the end of the day. I feel like this could be a game where Zach Wilson comes back in and solidifies himself as New York's quarterback. Now, solidifies himself by, a point against the Texans, sure, but solidifies himself because, as soon as Mike White came playing like that, the talks immediately started of, could Mike White be the quarterback of the future? And obviously he's not. But Zach Wilson, I think he's going to want to quiet those talks down. And so I think they pull out a win here over the Texans. And this could be the game that starts their little hot streak that I think they might have here at the end of the season. So, I mean, Houston, favorites. Would not be surprised if they won. But I'm going to take the Jets in this one. Then for our first Sunday afternoon game, we have the Chargers in Denver. Now, here's the thing. I know people are going to probably disagree with, Broncos, me having the Broncos winning this one. Got a few reasons for it. First off, I definitely don't think I'm biased because every time I've picked the Broncos to lose this year, they've ended up winning. So, at least as far as I remember, every time I picked them to lose, they've ended up winning. So I wouldn't consider myself all that biased. The other part to that is the fact that since their 3-0 start, I've gotten every single prediction wrong for the Broncos, which means every single week that they've won, I predicted them to lose, and every single week that I predicted them to lose, they won. I might have just said the same thing twice, I'm not sure. But either way, my gut feeling would be to say that the Chargers are going to win because that just seems obvious. I mean, I thought the Cowboys would win, I thought the Broncos would beat the Eagles, and neither happened. So since my gut reaction is that the Chargers are going to win this game, since I've been so inaccurate, I'm going to go the opposite and say that Denver pulls out a win here in Denver, and it's not all that, incomprehensible. The team can play great when it decides to. It's mainly the coaching that comes down to whether they win or not. And that's what's frustrating for the Broncos is, they're a talented team, but they just are so inconsistent. And so it could go either way. My gut reaction tells me the Chargers, and that's why I'm going with the Broncos, because I'm so wildly wrong with picking the Broncos that I'm going to go with the reverse thing here. So I do have Denver winning in Denver. Then we have another good game here. San Francisco is favored to win, and I could certainly see this being a closer game, but I think the Vikings are about to get things hot. They're a team that, I predicted to be 12-5, and they've definitely started playing better as of late. And of course, even if they're an injured team, getting a win over Green Bay is still a good win, especially if it's a division opponent. You have the Vikings who just came off a great win against the Packers, and then you have the Niners who just beat the Jaguars. I've been accurate on both these teams. They're both teams that I predicted to be 12-5, and they're both teams that are sitting at 5-5. And so they're both desperately looking for a win, and one's going to get it. And I think it's Minnesota. I think they're the better team. They definitely got more stuff going for them. If Mike Zimmer decides to call a good game, they will win, and I predict this to be a good game for Mike Zimmer. And so maybe it won't be such a comfortable win, but I do have Minnesota pulling off the upset in San Francisco. And then our last Sunday afternoon game, we have the Rams off the bye going into Green Bay. Green Bay coming off of a disappointing loss to the Vikings. The Rams, before the bye week, coming off two disappointing losses to the Titans and to the 49ers, both of which they did not look good in. So it's kind of interesting here because, two teams that are coming off of losses. The Rams have had a week of rest, though, right? So Von Miller's probably going to be a bit more healthy than he was originally when he came over there. And, you're just giving that team in general a bit of rest, and maybe that's something they needed. It's just rest. And with the Packers over here, you're coming off a loss, but it's not like you got any rest after that. I mean, they just lost Elton Jenkins for the entire season. Bakhtiari is staying out until the end of the season. Zay Hale returned for the playoffs. Jair Alexander's still out. Zadarius Smith is still out. It's a tough situation here for Green Bay. And at the beginning of the season, I had them 15-2, and one of the two losses I had them taking was to LA here in week 12. And I'm going to stick with that. It's going to be a really good game. Didn't quite make my game of the week. It's going to be a very good game, though, and I could certainly see it going to Green Bay, but I just think maybe all the Rams needed was a bit of rest, so I do have them pulling off a win here in Green Bay and improving to 8-3. Then for our Sunday night game, the other AFC North divisional game, we have the Browns marching into Baltimore, and I don't think the Browns pull this one off. They've just been so poor recently, losing to the Bengals in the way that they did. Not the Bengals. Firstly, losing to the Lions, but losing to the Patriots in the way that they did. Because they beat the Bengals pretty badly. Losing to the Patriots in the way they did was pretty bad. And then you follow that up with, winning by 3 points to the Lions. Before that, you lost to the Steelers. You barely beat the Broncos, got whooped by the Cardinals. The Browns are one of those teams where, like I keep saying this, but they'll play a really good game like once every 3 or 4 weeks. And, they had one a couple weeks ago. Their next good game is probably going to be against the Ravens in Baltimore because the Browns go on a bye week and then play the Ravens. I don't know if the Ravens go on a bye week too, but either way, the Browns go on a bye week and then play Baltimore again, except in Cleveland. I think that'll be their good performance. So here in Baltimore, I'll have it being a somewhat close game, but with the Ravens ultimately pulling out the win. Unless something changes, I got the Browns losing here and going back to 500. And then our Monday Night Football game of the week, a pretty bad one here. We have the Seahawks battling D.C., Washington, who they should be getting their new name soon, so maybe I'll finally be able to stop calling them just Washington. I got Seahawks losing. They're just not performing right now. Their defense is being very bad. Russell Wilson is really struggling, playing through an injury basically right now. I don't believe he's fully healthy. He's playing through an injury. The offense is struggling to get things going. And with Washington, they've been really good the last couple weeks. After losing to Denver, they go and beat Tampa Bay. And then you get another really good win um, just this last week against the Panthers. I think they got momentum going for them in Washington. I just don't see the Seahawks winning this one. And honestly, it kind of seems like for a while now we've gotten Russell Wilson trade rumors every offseason. Keep in mind, I mean, he wanted gone after a 12-4 season and the playoffs last year. So if the Seahawks end up finishing with like a 4 or 5 wins, um, do we see Russell Wilson demand a trade? Might be more likely than people think, to be honest, and it's only going to get worse after they lose to Washington, which is my prediction. But that's going to be my Week 12 predictions for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, more content coming soon. I know I've said that, but it's true this time. I'm pretty much getting over my sickness. I'll have guests too. I've got a couple guys who are going to come on to the channel for a few videos. One's a big YouTuber and one's a draft analyst. So excited for that. If you guys want to check that out, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.